Now in this test we're just going to compare the Mavic Air and the Mavic Pro in terms of their low light performance when you raise up the ISO values. Both drones were set in the following settings, and the white balance is preset at 5600K for both shots. So firstly we're going to look at the Mavic Air. This is 100 ISO. There's 200 ISO. You can see this strange flickering effect that's happening. You can see the exposure sort of changing on the Mavic Pro. I couldn't work out what that actually was. You can see it again here. In terms of noise at 400 ISO, it's starting to introduce a reasonable amount of noise. As soon as you get to 800, there's quite a lot of noise, and you can see that strange sort of flickering of the exposure, which I found very odd and couldn't work out how to get rid of that. 1600 ISO, pretty ordinary performance, but I wouldn't use any drone at that sort of value. And at 3200 ISO, completely unusable on the Mavic Air. So now let's have a look at the Mavic Pro at 100 ISO. I mean, you can see already the differences in terms of the color between the two different drones. 100 pretty clean, 200 still not so bad. This is what I usually shoot with my drones at either 100 or 200 maximum. Now we'll move up to 400. You can see 400 still okay, I would use this in a pinch if I had to. I don't like going above 400, but you can use 400 quite easily. 800 starts to get a bit too much noise in the shadows and a bit of chroma noise for my liking. I don't really want to use a drone at 800 ISO, particularly these the lower priced ones. Mavic Pro at 1600 ISO, quite a bit of noise now, quite a bit of chroma noise. I would not use the drone at 1600 ISO, and then we're going to go all the way up to 3200 ISO, and as you can see, extremely noisy and basically an unusable image in my personal opinion. So let's do a side-by-side comparison now with the drones at the same settings. Mavic Pro at the top, Mavic Air at the bottom. As you can see at 100 ISO, both look very similar. Now we're going to roll through to 200 ISO, and watch for the strange flickering effect that you get in the Mavic Air where the exposure is changing. It's really weird. You notice it more as we go higher up in the ISO values. Here we go to 400. And you'll see the strange flickering effect on the Mavic Air. Both of them looking reasonably similar here. Maybe the Mavic Pro just a slight bit better when it comes to noise. And the Mavic Pro definitely looks better at 800 ISO and above compared to the Mavic Air. The Mavic Air has a bit more noise in the image. As you can see, that fixed pattern noise. Similar, but I would say quite a bit, but worse on the Mavic Air. And at 3200 ISO, of course, both of them fairly unusable. The Mavic Air looks even worse though at this high setting. Here's a punch in now at 200% just to see a closer look at the noise. This is 100. We now go up to 200 ISO. And still very similar between the two different drones in terms of noise values. 400, you can see that strange flickering effect on the Mavic Air with the exposure. To me, the Mavic Pro just a tiny bit better at 400 ISO, and you can see that here. Then up to 800 ISO, and the Mavic Pro looking slightly better in my opinion than the Mavic Air. And once we get up to 1600, here you'll see quite a bit of chroma noise and fixed pattern noise in both of them. The Mavic Pro probably looks slightly better to me, and at 3200, both of them pretty horrible, but the Mavic Air slightly worse. So there you go, there's just a quick comparison looking at the ISO values.